is definitely a tricky chapter. It has to do with dimensional analysis, and essentially the whole concept is on making giant ones. And if you'll remember, the giant one is a way of saying that if you have x squared divided by x, that I can say, oh look, x divided by x is 1, so I'm left with just an x. Well, it works the same thing for even if the units are different. For instance, 12 inches and a foot. We know that 12 inches is the same as a foot, so we can just cancel those out. So that's the logic that we're going to use and apply. Now, typically, when I do these, I don't love the questions that come in the book, so I have a worksheet that goes with it, and I'm going to kind of go through the process of it. But again, I do want you to see that it is going to be section 224, and it is working in the idea that we're going to make the giant one, but we're going to convert. For instance, I might say, oh look, it's 60 minutes and an hour, and I can cancel those because 60 minutes equals an hour. Or I might be able to say, oh, it's 24 hours, or maybe I'll put 1 day on top. 1 day is the same as 24 hours, and I can cancel those things out. So that's what this whole thing is based on, is being able to realize that I'm allowed to do that. So let's go ahead and look at some of those conversions. And I'll tell you this, not everybody loves what I'm going to show right now, and I don't care if you don't use it. It's totally up to you. I just think that it's easy if I ask you to convert 17 years in a minute. Sometimes kids have no trouble doing that. But when it gets more difficult, when it's, how many yards per hour into inches per week, or how many pounds per week into kilograms per second, it can get really tricky really quickly. So I just kind of want to put this video together to kind of answer some of those questions that there might be. So as a matter of fact, I'll do the easy questions on part 1, and I'll do the more difficult questions maybe in part 2, or maybe I won't. I don't know. Anyway, long story short, I would always tell you to start, and this is just the way my brain says it, start with what you want. I want to know how many days. And I'm only talking about time here. I'm talking about seconds and days. So like these ones are a little bit trickier because here I'm talking about distance and time together. So these questions where you're talking about 2 units of measure together are a little bit trickier. But when I'm only talking about 1, I'm just going to say how many days over 1, because I want to make these a fraction. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin a conversion where I start figuring out, how do I convert days to seconds? Well, if you think about it, you might need these conversions or you might not. For instance, I think most of us know that 1 day is the same as 24 hours. Now, here's where this gets tricky. So a couple things. First of all, start with what you want to end with. The second thing is, whatever that is needs to go on top of the fraction, and I'll show you why, because we're going to be canceling some stuff out till we get back with just what we want. The next thing is, whatever's on bottom has to go to the top. So hours has to go to the top. And again, we'll sort of start canceling out, and I'll show you what I mean. But the idea is that how many hours, and again, I'm working towards second. Well, I know that 1 hour is 60 minutes. And I'm essentially creating a domino, and whatever's on bottom, which is minutes, is going to go on top. And then I know that 1 minute is 60 seconds. And then finally, I'm going to go as long as I have to until I get back to the original question, which had seconds on top. So 565,900 seconds. So now if you think about this, and again, I'll put this over 1. If you look at what's going on here, talking about just dividing by 1, I know that 1 day is the same as 24 hours. I haven't changed anything. This is like the same thing. And I know that 1 hour is 60 minutes. And again, I haven't changed anything. 1 minute, 60 seconds, it's the same thing. But what I have been able to do is I have been able to go from days to seconds. And I'll show you what I mean. When I have anything divided by itself, seconds divided by seconds, they equal 1. So I'm going to cancel the seconds out on top and bottom. Those units are now gone. I'll cancel minutes out on top and bottom. Those are gone. I'll cancel hours out on top and bottom. Those are now gone. And you'll see all that's left is days on top. There's no units on bottom. All there is days on top. Now I'll just multiply the top. 565,900 times 1 times 1 times 1. That gives me 565,900 over, and again, days, because that's what I wanted. Days over 1 times 60 times 60 times 24. So this becomes like a couple different math problems. I multiply the top together, I multiply the bottoms together, and I will go ahead and grab a calculator and do that. So I already know the top is going to be 565,900 days. I'll divide it by 1 times 60 times 60 times 24 by 86,400. And what I'm left with is 565,900 divided by 86,400. I get 6.55 days. That's how long 565,900 seconds is. Now I know a lot happened there. So let's go ahead and let's look at another one of these things. And again, I'm going to go through the process the same way each time. Actually, I think I was a little bit bigger there than I wanted. I didn't want to erase the kilograms. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump down to this one here. 43 miles into feet. So when I look at this one, I know that I want to end up in feet. So I'll put question mark feet. That's what I want at the end. And that means I need to start my conversion with feet on top. And how do I get from feet to miles? Well, I don't really know, but oh look, it's super easy. 5,280 feet is the same as 1 mile. And now at this point, a lot of times people think they're done. You're not done. Remember, I have to end with the question on top. So if miles are on bottom, miles needs to go to the top. And how many miles? Well, 43 miles over 1. Now you can see there's not a lot going on with this. There's only 1 on bottom. The miles are going to cancel. I just have 1 on bottom. So I'll grab my calculator, and it's going to be 43 times 5,280 feet. And I'm going to get 227,040, I think it was, feet. That's how many miles, that's how many feet 43 miles is. To do that conversion. All right, let's go ahead and do one more of these things. Let's say I want to convert centimeters. No. Is there a good one here? Yeah, these ones are all not too bad. Let's just convert this one. So again, I want to know how many feet. And actually, maybe this will be good. This way I went up to miles. This way I have to go down to feet, right? So I want to know how many feet, which means I have to start with feet on top. And I want to go from feet to centimeters, so I have to go down. So I know that 1 foot is the same as 12 inches. And then hopefully there'll be a conversion from inches to centimeters. I think it's like 2.58 or something like that. 2.54. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So again, I know I have to put 1 inch here. Inches on top is the same as 2.54 centimeters. And again, whatever's on bottom here has to go on top here. And I'm stopping now because I know that I have 2,678 centimeters. Again, I stop when I get to the question. So at this point, the centimeters are going to cancel, the inches are going to cancel. My answer will be in terms of feet. I multiply the top. Obviously, I get 2,678. I'll multiply the bottom. I'm going to get 2.54 times 12. And I'm going to get 30.48 on bottom. And the last thing I need to do is just divide, right? 2,678 divided by 30 divided by 30.48. And I will get 87.86 feet. So that is, I'll call that part 1, right? These are the easier conversions, and I will save part 2 for another video.